I got my hands on a physical copy of issue 354 of Edge magazine, you know, the one with the Silksong cover. Specifically, this is the subscriber-only Silksong cover, although I really like the art on the other version, so you can bet that I'm going to keep my eyes open for that one. Before we dive into everything, humour me for a moment, because I've got a little story time about how I managed to add this to my collection. Now, this issue came out in February 2021, and you can easily grab a digital copy online if you did want to read it, but physical ones are so hard to come by. I mean, like right now, there's only one that I can find online to buy, and that's £225 on eBay. There's also apparently 2 copies that sold recently on eBay for £30 and £399.99. What a difference. Surely no one actually bought it for that much. Moving on, I regularly check eBay, Vinted, all of those places for anything related to my favourite games. And when I get an idea in my head, I have to make that happen. Like, if I want something, I need it. I was obsessively looking for this magazine, and it didn't take me that long to realise that I was going about it all wrong. You don't want to be looking specifically for that issue, because the people selling that issue, that one issue, are going to know what a gem they have. No, you want to be looking at ex-collectors selling off their old collection. So I started looking for anyone selling stacks of Edge magazine. And I hit the jackpot because I found someone selling 10 magazines on Facebook Marketplace. Now, they didn't actually mention Silksong at all in their listing. As I said, I was literally looking at every single listing containing Edge magazines or stacks of Edge magazines, and they had one singular photo looking at the side of the stack, and in there I could see it on the side, issue 354. So obviously I immediately messaged them, hoping that it didn't come off too obvious that I'm willing to pay well over the asking price, but we had a problem. I was about to go on holiday, so I didn't want the package to arrive at mine and then just be left out in the rain, because I'm from the UK, it rains pretty much every other day here. But also my parents were away, and my brother was away. Most of my friends were also not able to take in this package for me for whatever reason, until Billy Tricks. The wonderful Billy Tricks let me send the stack of magazines to her address. And then this past week we had the Logitech Masterclass in London, and I was able to take that off of her hands, and I finally have it in mine. Oh right, and the best bit, the price. I only had to pay post and packaging. So I got this for a grand total of £5.82. Okay, now on to everything that I learned from the interview, and I must start by telling you that I've not watched anyone else's videos on this magazine. It's been out for over a couple years, so there's a lot of videos out there and they're very detailed. I hadn't read the article before myself online because I was waiting until I could get a copy for myself, and I will only be covering the information that's news to me specifically. It might not be news to you, but let's all be polite, okay? We've heard time and time again about how difficult it was to create a world for Hornet who operates much differently to the Knight in Hallownest. So everything needed to be bigger to accommodate. She can speak, she can jump higher, she's faster, she can clamber onto ledges, she's acrobatic, and so forth. What I didn't know is that Ari has straight up admitted that they've perhaps leaned slightly more into the detail in combat over platforming. They go on to say that the core of the world is mainly a reflection of Hornet. Her fighting is so fast that they had to change the way they designed enemies, going as far to claim that you spend more time at full health or almost dead, and the gameplay is spent snapping between these two states. There's a lot in here about how sophisticated the enemies are going to be in the game to keep up with Hornet's abilities, which is very exciting. Hornet can also heal a lot quicker than the Knight, so it's expected that you'll likely need to make use of that during these more complex fights. But that'll cost you, because every heal requires 3 masks instead of 1. They spoke briefly about their development process, which isn't anything new, but I do like how it's described as sort of controlled scope creep, where their worlds are built organically with ideas being fleshed out and added throughout development. As a qualified project manager with 8 years experience working in IT infrastructure, that does terrify me. But tech projects, especially at investment banks, aren't allowed quite so much freedom. We know about the rosary bead currencies, but I didn't realise you could keep them strung so you don't lose them when you die, or break the strings to use the beads as currency. I fully expect everything to be crazy expensive because you have a way to keep them on death. You'll be able to restring up rosary beads that you've broken apart previously at certain benches throughout Farloom. And I've got to say, I'm very excited for the post-Silksong release bench tier lists, because apparently there's, in Ari's words, like 100 different benches. Hornet can also craft tools at certain benches, and we've seen quite a few of those tools already between the trailers and the demo from the Nintendo Treehouse video. What's new to me is hearing that she can develop new tools based on things that she sees in the world. For example, you may see an enemy throw a pin-like javelin, and Hornet can then add that to her moveset. About halfway through the article, Ari says there are many other lands. I'm not sure how much we want to say other than there's a variety of strange places you get to go to, and confirms there's more to explore after you've reached the Citadel at the top of Farloom. It seems the world is going to be
a lot more varied than Hallownest, and I can't wait to explore it. We know a bit about the crests too, but I hadn't realised that they can be worn like pieces of jewellery. The devs have even said that they're hoping to get fan art of Hornet wearing all different pieces. As I'm writing, I can't recall whether we've actually seen this yet. I'm sure we haven't seen it to the extent that they're talking about. I really want to know how fancy they get, but also whether I can buy any to wear in real life. Team Cherry, I am begging you, please. It sounds like these crests will help Hornet get in touch with her lineage and help us understand why she's there in the first place, how the Weavers are helping her get her strength back, and so many other mysteries we don't even know about yet. She can also build up her reputation with the friendly residents of Farloom by taking on community work, side quests that help others, including ones that you can pick up from the notice boards we've seen before. These side quests are split into 3 categories: Hunt, Wayfarer, and Gather. Of course, there's also saving the fleas too, which I will absolutely do, just like I saved all of the grubs. Chakra, the gold-bangled NPC that we've been introduced to previously, will take on the friendly cartographer role, though you might end up scrapping later on, apparently. Did I just completely forget that Chakra was the cartographer? Because I feel like I knew that already, but I would not have been able to tell you without this reminder. I've seen that character everywhere and used them in my videos on multiple occasions. We've also had confirmation that they are still working at the time, on the other non-Hollow Knight game. Another pain point for the other organised folk, because their development process for that is basically just adding to a single Google document when an idea strikes. I do wonder if this is the Fearless Fox title that was trademarked earlier this year.
Wouldn't it be really funny if Team Cherry drop a trailer and release date for Silksong, then immediately shadow drop their other game with it? Okay, that's very, very unlikely, but it's possible they could announce it shortly after. Gives Daily Silksong News some time to rebrand. Alright, that was a lot of rambling, so thank you for listening and I'll see you in the next one.